Hello, my friends on YouTube. Today I'd like to speak to you about a subject. I decided to call it an end of an era. Very interesting subject. Actually, if you talk to many people, so many people now, they tell you we are in the last days. Many people. This is a religious expression for the Jewish, Christian, and Muslim. We are in the last days. I have a different understanding about this. We are no longer in the last days. We are in the new days. The last days, probably it was 50 years ago. Now we are in the new days. And the two types of days are crossing path. What's happening now, as I see it, is the old thinking, the old dead ideologies died. Well, not totally dead, it's mortally wounded, you could say. Like an elephant, and that elephant is giving its last breath. However, when an elephant or a bear or a lion is dying violent death, normally they fight fearsome fight. They kick and they bite and they use every ounce of energy they have to stay alive. And this is basically what's happening these days. Uh, what I'd like to speak to you is actually not about what's on the news, but rather what's not on the news. And my question, why is that not on the news? The news, it's actually the deep state is controlling the money supply, the media, the government, the military, the police, all forces, so that they can keep people running in a certain direction. They are even using religions, specifically Islam and Catholicism. Or not the Catholic people, but the Catholic order, the hierarchy in the leadership in the Catholic Church. All that is to control the mind of an average person. So, when something so important like what's happening in Hong Kong is happening, why you find only just, if you find it, a small article that there's unrest in Hong Kong and the security forces is watching monitoring the situation. Even the way they express the words unrest and security is monitoring. That means that they give you the impression that bad people are doing bad things and the good people, the security forces and the police and the army, waiting in case they have goes out of control, we go and kill them all. Actually, it's the situation is the other way around. The people in Hong Kong, they want their freedom, and who wants to be a slave? Well, I know Islam are so proud, Muslim, they are so proud to say I am a slave. Even a slave of God, still a slave, still a slave. So the people want their freedom, but they are portrayed as evil, causing unrest. That's the role of the media, to make them, to villainize them. I heard recently that Hong Kong had people, a line of people, some people say 27 mile and some people say 30 miles of people holding hand in solidarity asking for their freedom. You don't see that on regular newspaper or regular news station. They don't report that. Why? Because most of these large news institutes, they are actually run by people of interest groups. The deep state have to pay them a lot of money because they are the people who are, in a way, brainwashing the public. So you shouldn't actually uh, be upset with Trump when he calls them fake news. I was in a doctor's office a couple of days ago, and while I was waiting, they had a TV, CNN. And even though in my mind, I'm so clear about what's happening, but you listen to them, if you listen long enough, you start to change your opinion. If I'm not aware that they are lying, I will actually align with them. And that's not only CNN, there are many uh, news organizations that they are doing the same thing, and they are all repeating the same thing in the same manner. So they give them the line, they spell it out. The deep state convey the message, and these guys spell it out. Why they don't report about Hong Kong? The main reason, in my opinion, is the media leans to the left, or rather the far left. What is the teaching of uh, communism? It is the far left. So they are brothers. Okay, they don't want to expose the garbage in communism. So what do they do? They look for something else to speak, to villainize somebody else and make it a subject and keep talking about it and talking about it so that people don't pay attention to the real news and what's going on. Now, the people of Hong Kong, it is the surface. This is the problem. If China can guarantee that Hong Kong can, they leave Hong Kong altogether, but they don't open their mouth again, they will do it. But that is not the problem. Once they give in to Hong Kong about anything, Taiwan will ask, and then business people in China will start want more freedom. And then the same what happened in the Soviet Union in the early 90s, it will be the same thing. And I think Xi Jinping, what he's trying to do, he's trying to pass these days until October, until they celebrate the 70th year of communism in China, to show how wonderful the communist ideology have done. Well, even if if China survives until this day, which is not so far, it will not continue for long. It is very similar to what have happened in the Middle East and North Africa. These leaders who were sitting, like Mubarak was president for almost 30 years, Gaddafi of Libya, I think close to 40 years. And these people, they were like uh, gods of the region. And all of a sudden, that was like a fire caught in dry wood that nobody expected. And because of this have happened, now because the Middle East, the Islamic countries, all of it, whether it is Arabic speaking or not, mainly dictatorship. Communism is dictatorship. So they have something in common, except that Muhammad actually was smarter than Karl Marx, and he made them a god, so, gave them the idea of a god. So the Muslim look at Muhammad's ideology as something holy, coming from God, whereas whether it was the Soviet Union or China, they know that this is human thinking and we could change it. So it's probably easier to collapse communism and then Islam will follow. But the reality is, this is the end of an era. Even if it takes 10 more years for Islam to collapse, I really think it will disintegrate faster than this. But let's say if it takes 10 years, still it will be the end of it. Islam will never stand up again, neither would communism. It's an end of an era. Thank you very much. We welcome your comments.